Good evening, welcome back. It's In the Know. It's brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. And we wave goodbye to the jump season tomorrow at Sandown and get geared up for the flats. Of course, Punchestown as well is carrying on. In fact, you're probably not even watching this. There's a Grade 1 currently racing. I could say anything right now, and you won't come back until Imperial Pass beats champ Kealy, probably in that Grade 1 Novice Hurdle. But at Sandown tomorrow, of course, we've got Handicap Chasers, we've got Handicap Hurdles, we've got Novice Chasers against old-timers in the 2-miler as well. It looks a cracking little card, to be fair. A bit disappointing that we lost Sandown today, but I think tomorrow's jumps cards more than make up for it. We'll also be having a look at a couple of Grade 1s over at Punchestown as well. And fingers crossed, we will be leaving the jump season behind with a healthy profit on Saturday afternoon. But if we can't do that, at least we'll have a good show tonight. I can guarantee you that. It is live and interactive, of course, so if you're watching on YouTube, do like and subscribe to the channel and make sure you get involved in that chat box. Good evening to Mike, to Darren and to Kinky Cadet, who's already starting to wind us up, and we haven't even started the show yet. That's what I like to see. But like I said, it's going to go a bit haywire from next week as we start to get into the flat season and evening racing and 5,000 replays to watch back as the Guineas start to get us excited about the level. But let's see if Paul Kealy can end the jump season on a high, which so far, Keels, you have been doing. You've had a good week, mate.
Yeah, I've had a very good week. Yeah. I enjoyed 21 winner yesterday. Got to 40 to 1 shot each way today. Finished second.
There you go. What's it tomorrow then? 66 to 1.
Absolutely, no, a couple of 64 shots, I think.
A couple of yeah.
No, I love the final day of the season at Sandown. I'll always go.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it. Looks like we're going to have a nice warm day for once. It's been miserable so far this spring, isn't it? But it's going to be nice tomorrow.
It has been miserable. Not that you know it. You look like you've got a healthy golfer's
tan.
Well,
funny enough, we went to Scotland for the Scottish National, and on the Friday was probably the warmest day of the year. Sun came out at 7 a.m. was still out at 7 p.m. It was great.
There you go. Lovely stuff. What a world. Leaving the winter behind, mate. Leaving the winter behind. Tom Segal, you've been golfing as well this week, haven't you? Do you have to have special clubs made? You're about 7'3", aren't you?
I wouldn't say I was golfing. I was walking around on a golf course. My golf these days is so bad. My back I'm a cripple. I'm just getting too old, Ross.
Yeah.
Need to move on.
What are we thinking? What Crown Green Bowls? Is that the obvious next step?
Fishing,
yeah, okay, yeah. Mortimer and Whitehouse. We could do a Brierley and Segal if you like.
Thinking of getting myself a little boat, going down to the south coast and dipping my rod in the water.
Wow, can't think of anything nicer. What a world. Okay, well, I hope we get some winners to pay for that boat. One man who's spent many an evening on the south coast dipping his rod in the water is David Stevens. Good evening to you.
Good evening, gents. Far too much information about Tom's new hobby. We're all looking forward to hearing more about that. But yeah, Keels referenced Ayr last weekend. It was a brilliant, that Friday was extraordinary, that little microclimate on the west coast, but a brilliant Coral Scottish Grand National meeting, headlined by Christian Williams, and an emotional win in the big race with Kitty's Light, more of whom later, of course. But as always, at the top of the show, we've got our price boost. And Willie Mullins is cleaning up at Punchestown once again. But he doesn't have the hot favourite for the Oaksey Chase tomorrow. That instead goes to Shark Hanlon with Hewick, who undoubtedly has been one of the stories of the jump season. Comes over tomorrow in search of better ground. And for the duration of this live show, Hewick currently 11 to 8 shot, but we will be 7 to 4 for a max of 20 quid for the duration of this live show.
Okay, Hewick to win the 250 then at Sandown. 7 to 4 from 11 to 8 there. You'd be unsurprised to hear that Willie Mullins has just won another Grade 1 at Punchestown. What a man with Imperial Pass. And message us if you had that 4 to 11 double perhaps this evening at Punchestown. But that's the story of the Punchestown meeting, Tom, hasn't it this week? I've just realised I'm just about to set you up for an anti Mullins mode. The chat's going to explode. The comments are going to explode. Should I do this, Keels, or should we just move on?
Yeah, let him go for it.
Yeah. What do you think of Punchestown this week? The Grade 1s, Tom.
Loved them, Ross. I haven't missed a minute of Punchestown. I mean, why does anyone go?
I mean, to be fair, why does anyone go as a punter? It's a lovely part of the world, and
I mean, that's right. You
cracking day out.
can't go for the racing, can you? Because there's nothing to watch. State Man beating Vauban again. Impere Pass winning again. I suppose. Look, maybe people like going and lumping on those good things, but I don't. So listen, each to their own. Quite happy. I love it. Listen, there's plenty of good races, but the Grade 1s are a bit. When you've got 4 Mullins versus one other, it's a bit of a tough watch, isn't it?
Yeah, fair enough. But I mean, the main thing is, the jump season is it's a winter sport, isn't it? Apart from everything happens within 6 weeks.
Yeah, apart from everything happens in 6 weeks between March and the end of April, or mid-May sometimes. A Punchestown can be, can't it? But yeah, it is a bit daft, isn't it? We all get excited about the jump season starting in October, but the real stuff doesn't start until 5 months later. All these horses don't run at all, and then they run 3 times in 6 weeks.
Yeah, they do indeed. But we'll see how the tweaking of the jump season works out next year. But let's end it on a positive note, hopefully with some winners at Sandown tomorrow, and we'll be getting to that in just a second. Okay, let's get involved in Sandown first before we have a look at a couple of races from Punchestown then. And it is a highly competitive card at the Esher track, and you'd think so too, wouldn't you, for the final day of the jump season. We start off with a handicap hurdle to kick things off at 1:05, and a big field amassing here for this opening contest. Killer Lowen is 4-1, one of many Paul Nicholls runners, not only in this race but on the card, of course. He does tend to end the season with a bit of a bang. Under Control is 9-2, Bo Balco is 8-1, Iberico Lord is also 8-1, Sergeant Wilson 10s, Arcube is 12s with Kansas de Burley, Joe de Dancer is 14s, and bigger prices the rest here. Like I said, 16 of them lining up for this race. You've got 5 places on offer for each way angles. But Keel's going to come to you first for this Novices Handicap Hurdle. Plenty of unexposed types, but the market is headed by a horse who's won a couple of handicaps already in impressive fashion and represents the yard who like to end on a high.
Paul Nicholls has done remarkably well. He had 5 winners at the meeting last year of the 8 races. 4 of them were ridden by Harry Cobden, so you've got to respect Killer Loan. He was quite impressive last time at Ludlow, beating Bertie's Wish, who's back again in a 33-1 shot. I actually, of the Nicholls horses, I actually thought Whole Town Hero might be the one, second to Iniston, who was very, very good, very good form at the time. But the one I think just could be terrifically well handicapped, is Lucy Wadham's Arcube.
Okay.
Was trained by William Jarvis on the flat and was in the first 4 every time he ran at Sandown, including winning a handicap off 89. Finished a close 4th, and there were Class 2 races as well off 93. Been a bit of a slow learner over hurdles, but he won at Huntingdon on his 3rd start. He showed improved form when second to Russian Ruler next time at Newbury. Russian Ruler won on Monday night, and probably go up to something like 130. And he's running in here off 114 now. He might not transfer all his flat ability to hurdles, but if he's going to do it and he's going to run better, it'll be here, I'd imagine, given his form at Sandown. And I thought a double-figure price in what is a seriously competitive race, it'd be of serious interest.
Yeah, and the Wadham team had a double the other day.
They had a double yesterday, yeah.
Yeah, with Bryony Frost in the saddle. Not that it matters, but William Jarvis has just had a winner at Doncaster, so that's got anything to do with a horse who hasn't been trained by him for the best part of 9 months, but Tom, it just came to mind, so I said it. There you go. 2 miles of distance there for this handicap hurdle. The only thing that stands out to me a little bit is you've got a 4-1 favourite here who's risen in the handicap, but traditionally, not just this race, but these novice handicap hurdles at big tracks, they often get won by a horse who's just had a little bit a little bit kept under the
He's
under
only
the
run.
covers.
He's only run novice company, isn't he? They weren't handicaps, were they?
Killer Lowen,
Get alone.
he's won 2 handicaps.
Has he?
Yeah,
Why am I?
he's gone up a stone in the handicap.
Oh yeah, they were handicaps. Do apologise. Sorry.
No, it's all right, Keels.
I'm on the ball tonight, chaps.
To err is human and all that jazz. Tom Segal, we were rudely interrupted there. What were you about to say?
Well, listen, I like you say, I thought he was plenty short enough up the top. I think Under Control is an interesting mare, filly, isn't she? I think she's forward, isn't she? Thought she was really impressive at Cheltenham the other day, but you know, she has gone. She's another one that's gone up, as you say. She's gone up £8, I think, for that win, and this is a much better race. So I was quite keen to take on the top of the market, as I would always do. I did get the Arcube case. Just don't know what the Keels. You're a local to that area. What do you think?
Oh gosh, it's so weird, isn't it? Because an unwatered flat track it gets abandoned, and yet they were actually watering yesterday and parts of the chase track. And then, of course, they're hammered down. They're calling it soft good or soft in place. It's been warm today. Anyone's guess. I do think it's been riding a little bit slower than the official description most of the season. I think you'd agree with that, wouldn't you, Tom?
Yeah. I think it's always softer at Sandown than they say.
Yeah. That would worry me a little bit about Arcube, although it was soft at Newbury, but on better ground, I'd like him even more.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only thing I had against him, was I just wonder whether he'll get run out of it, because that form when he was fourth in that handicap with Protagonist and Dual Identities, rock solid. I actually fancied him to run well in the Cambridgeshire, actually, and he ran okay for a long way. I just if it was good ground, I'd be very keen on him. I just didn't know what it was going to be, so I do my normal default and go to Gary Moore in races like this. Now, he has won 2 novice hurdles. He hasn't won a handicap, and he hasn't gone up much in the weights. But I thought when he beat Away the Lad, one of Ben Balling's horses at Fontwell 2 starts ago, he was really impressive. That was on heavy ground. Then went back there and won a really rubbish race, but he won it easily on good ground, and he won it by 15 or so lengths. But I just thought he was one of those Gary Moore type horses. He probably could have run about 5 or 6 in the race, and he's sneaked one in at the bottom. Who's in good form. I don't think he's badly handicapped on either his French form or his. And look at that! While I was speaking, it's halved in price. Brilliant! Just what we like to see.
Look, we know, but that's your fault, Tom, isn't it? That's clear. It's always your fault. You're always surprised, but it's always your fault. 20 years you've been doing this, moving markets, man.
Yeah, but the problem is these days we goes in the paper and it goes, Tom Segal's had a 2-to-1 winner.
Exactly.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah. They end up going off. They end up sometimes going off at prices you would never dream of backing them at.
Never back them at.
Yeah.
Exactly. But there we go. Anyway, I thought he'd run well. It won't matter what the ground is. He's a 4-year-old, gets a bit of weight. Gary Moore in these handicaps at Sandown, he was going to do for me. But it's a really great race. I mean, I like this race. I've always enjoyed this meeting. As Keel says, I know it can be a bit of a misery about punch style stuff, but I think there are loads of good races there. But I think this meeting's a really good one. It's got some. All the races are interesting. Got good horses in all the races. This is really competitive. I went for Kansas to Burley, but you can make a case for 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happens when you combine them all into one day rather than 6, I guess. Anyway, Celtic Art says Doghouse Riley could be a cut above these. Nichols in the first says Mike Smith. We've got a few to cover there. And apart from those, Philip Clayton also agreeing that Celtic Art could have a little bit of a squeak. But yeah, he's another talented horse who might be a little bit underrated given his connections, who, to be fair, have just exploded into life, haven't they? They had a double at Taunton yesterday, and 2 horses have absolutely bolted up. So yeah, maybe Celtic Art does have a bit of a chance. David Stevens, 5 places on offer, wide open stuff. Opinions flying around left, right and centre, my good man.
Yes, indeed. And I'm with those last couple of contributors with Celtic Art. 2 novice hurdle wins to his name, with Jeremy Scott and Rex Dingle. Also, I thought Sergeant Wilson, if he just learns to settle one of these days, he's clearly got talent. He's another double figure odds with the 5 places each way. But JP McManus has 3 runners in the race. JP McManus to have the win of this opener was 7-4, is now 9-4. So you've got all 3 JP runs running for you there at 9-4.
Okay, lovely stuff. 94 out from 7-4 then. Just reiterate your angle, Keels.
Just at Arcube, really good form. on the flat at Sandown, so let's give him a chance off what is a very low mark compared to his flat rating.
Okay. I'll kind of follow that. I did think Hometown Hero was a little bit big at 16s for Paul Nicholls, the outsider of his lot. Tom?
Yeah, Kansas to Burley for me, but I get the case for lots of them in there. Yeah, Celtic Art was the one I was going to mention. The other one I was going to mention, he was a good flat horse in his day, so he could go well too.
Okay, he's gone back out again, 12 to 1 on the screen. Was it Kansas to Burley? Didn't you say that?
See?
What's going on here?
Well, I started talking about it. They said, all right, forget him, put it back out about it. Look at what form he's in.
Yeah, he said, we've done it, we spotted it. Quick, knock it out a couple of points. All right, fair enough. And David, you're going for Celtic Art, is that right?
Celtic Art each way, and I'm just trying to confirm. I think Kansas to Burley is currently 9 to 1.
Yeah, he's gone back to 9s again.
Your guess is as good as mine.
He has gone back. Although on the screen in front of me, I can back him at 10, so... I don't know, he'll go off 6 to 4 anyway, won't he? So we'll move over to the second race at Sandown tomorrow. A Grade 1 contest, the Celebration Chase, of course, 5 of them lining up for these 2-milers. We've seen some good 2-milers this week over in Ireland, of course. And John Bon, 11 to 10. He couldn't quite beat El Fabiolo, could he, at Cheltenham? But that's no disgrace based on his performance this week. He's 11 to 10 though to beat the older horses. 5 to 2, Grenadine back to his favourite track. Captain Guinness is 9 to 2. Editor de Geet is 6 to 1. Funambule Civila is 33 to 1 outsider of the bunch. And yeah, often these 2-mile chasers, Tom, can be over the past couple of years a little bit dull because there's only 1 or 2 genuine challengers here. But whatever happens, round of applause for Nicky Henderson for making this race very interesting indeed by throwing John Bon into the mix.
100%. Couldn't agree with you more. But to be fair, we're not missing too many, are we, from the Champion Chase? I mean, and obviously the Energumy's not there and Edwardstone, but the other ones are all there, aren't they? The Captain Guinness ran really well, and Grenadine back at his favourite track. So it's a really interesting race. You've got Edico de Geet to make the running, obviously, and Gamble Savola likes to bowl along as well. So I think it's going to be really interesting. It's just one of those, isn't it? I think John Bon's probably a class above them, but this is Grenadine's home game, isn't it? He's at home. John Bon's had a long, hard season. At the prices, I'd probably go for Grenadine, but I think John Bon's really, really good. So you got to throw Captain Guinness in the mix, haven't you? But after his excellent effort, I think you might have flagged him up yourself, Ross.
Yeah,
Ross
I was just for a second there at Cheltenham. I was counting me cash. I thought he's jumped beautifully. He's travelled like a dream, and then Energumy powered away from him. But he's the freshest horse in the race, and he's also just takes some horses a little bit longer, doesn't it, to find their feet? And he's looked a completely different horse this year.
He absolutely has. The only slight thing you'd say is that he's been here a few times, hasn't he? I've never thought he's running a couple of Tingle Creeks, and I never thought he was at his best, Captain Guinness, round here. But he could. I mean, that might have been, as you say, he looks in a better form this year. So yeah, he's definitely in there. And Editor de Geet, if he gets into that rhythm without any pace pressure up front, he could go well too. So I think it's a really interesting race. I'd probably just given Nicholls' record at the meeting, I'd go for Grenadine, but without any confidence at all, really.
Okay, well, I'll be doing my traditional laying of Grenadine in place, taking him on, because I don't think he's that good. Admittedly, it is Sandown, but I think Captain Guinness has got a chance. But from one Captain Guinness to another...
Oh, I'm a Grenadine fan. I think he's the best horse in the race.
Do you?
I mean, John Bon might end up being a class one, but he isn't yet, and he's always priced as though he is. I mean, he's only run against one top-class novice chaser this season. He got thrashed. You know what I mean? He won, El Fabiolo won easily. I mean, if we're putting him in at 11 to 8, then we must be making El Fabiolo 3s on to beat this lot. And he'd be a short price, but he wouldn't be that short. Right? So John Bon is just too short. Way too short. And
I'm just going to kick in again because we're going to argue. I'm going to enjoy arguing over this race.
But again,
but John Bon had 2 horses to beat him, El Fabiolo and Constitution Hill.
Yeah, I know, but 22 lengths and 5.5 lengths. I mean, he's thrashed them. He's been thrashed by them. He's a very good horse. Yeah. But there is something to do with his price, and because of his price tag, his pedigree, being a brother of Duvan, etc. It's just. He is always underpriced, I think. He does keep winning. He does win an awful lot of races, don't get me wrong. But he's run against 2 top class horses in his life, and he's been thrashed by both of them. So So, let's have a bit of realism here. Plus the fact, Nicky Henderson's talking about going and being aggressive like he was at Aintree. If he's aggressive here, I mean, he's got Editor de Geet to run up against, isn't he? It'll be a different, you know what I mean? He's not running against the rubbish he ran against at Aintree, is he? You know what I mean? So I can't. I cannot have him at the price.
But you say that, but you're about to tip a horse who last year beat So Royal, Nube Negra, Rouge Vif, and Sky Pirate.
Yes, he won by. But he did win by 12 lengths, and he did beat Altior the year before.
How old was Altior that year?
9, 10. No, he wasn't that old. He wasn't that old, was he?
Right.
I'm going to have to go and have a look how old Altior was back then. But he still beat him, right? And he's won 3 Grade 1s at this track. He comes to life at this time.
He was 11 and never raced again, Keels.
Yeah,
it was like Tom with golf. He said, what, my back's killing me, I'm done.
He still battered him. He still won very easily. Yes, I can understand his form isn't absolutely top class, but this is his track, this is his time of year. The ground will dry out to no worse than good at soft. It'll be perfect. He's very much the one to beat. He should be favourite, and I've backed him as though he is.
Fair enough. I enjoyed that. I've decided I sit on the fence too often with this. I'm being too diplomatic. David Stevens, what have you got, you so-and-so?
Well, I've completely changed my mind listening to that, because our special in this race is around John Bon, and if I don't make a case for John Bon, then we might as well chuck this special in the bin.
Away you go.
It's actually kills us. Only 2 horses have beaten John Bon: Constitution Hill and El Fabioli, both of whom are better than anything John Bon faces here, surely.
Yes, but he's been thrashed by them, though. It's not like, he's been beaten half a length. He's been absolutely thumped.
Yeah, I mean, he ran to 164 when thumped behind El Fabiolo, and Grenadine's only, as 165 when battered behind Edwardstone at Sandown. So it's not like, he's running to a similar level.
But he's also run to 171 2 or 3 times. 3 times.
Yeah,
I also don't think
2 of them at Sandown. 2 of them at Sandown.
Yeah, fair, yeah.
Like,
Nicky Henderson.
He'd be getting £9 in a handicap, and he's 11 to 8.
Listen, my original choice is with you. This is Grenadine's fixture. Paul Nicholls loves this day. Grenadine's the one to beat. But Nicky Henderson, who we criticise too much for not running his horses, wouldn't be running this horse if he didn't think he could do himself justice.
Actually, if he was really good, he wouldn't be running him at all.
That is one way of looking at it. But I'm going to go for John Bon, and we've got a special, which I know you're going to hate. John Bon to win by over 5 lengths, 100 to 30 from 11 to 4. Go on, John Bon.
Go on, John
It should
Bon.
be 130 to win the race.
Yeah, fair enough.
My Twitter's going to go mental after that one. There we go.
Can I have a double on him to win tomorrow and win the Ryanair next year? That's what I want. That's what I want, David. But anyway, the celebration chase. This is going to be. Should we? I feel like we should all have some sort of private wager on this race as Editor de Geet jumps out and makes all potentially. Paul says John Bon is a Sam Caney says Captain Guinness 9-2 is tasty. And John Thompson says didn't think Coleman covered himself in glory on John Bon at Cheltenham. That's a fair enough point. I think he was a little bit. He was too focused on the horse in front of him and not focused enough on the horse behind him, in my opinion. But anyway, Tom, we've argued for a while here. I've forgotten what you fancied.
So have I. What did I fancy? Grenadine. I think it's his home game, So we'll go for him. Just to annoy you, Ross. Really.
No, that's absolutely fair enough. Being a Sheffield Wednesday fan, I know full well that you can absolutely blow a home game when it looks like you should be winning it. So don't you worry about that. Okay.
Don't mention football. I'm going to watch Reading get relegated tomorrow.
Oh. That was genuinely is a bit sad. I'm sorry, Tom. You don't have to go.
No, well, what else am I going to do?
I don't know.
I could watch horses. I could go to Sandown, couldn't I? Maybe I'll swap and go to Sandown.
Yeah, come to Sandown.
Sandown with Keels and
loads of booze. Go back to being a young man again.
Yeah, there you go. What's it?
I think I'll go to Reading now.
Yeah, I think the only way Tom's going to go back to being a young man is if he finds that machine in big.
Come back, be a young man. You're not allowed to leave the pub until at least 10 p.m. afterwards.
Okay.
No.
Anyway, let's move on because, look, John Bond beats Captain Guinness or the reverse forecast. It's up to you, whatever you want to go with in the Celebration Chase tomorrow. Or you could go for John Bond to win by over 5 lengths for that price boost. Moving on to the Bet365 Gold Cup Handicap Chase, a premier handicap, 3.5 miles, and it is a cracking lineup. Kitty's Light, what a job they've done getting him handicapped over the winter to come out now and pretty much turn up every other week and plunder a big valuable pot. In theory, anyway. He's 7-2 to win it only a week after taking the Scottish National. Revels Hill is 11-2, Enrillo 8-1, The Goffer is 8-1, and Sam 10. Certainly Red is 10s. T Clipper is 12-1, Marauder at 12-1, and it is bigger prices the rest. Cool Valor, Frodon, of course. If it could be, if Grenadine can win, then maybe Frodon could as well. Mucho Mas, Marauder, Musical Slave, plenty of horses in here with chances on their past form. But Kitty's Light running here off a mark of 140, as it was last week at Ayr, and absolutely bolted up. I don't know. Some people will be looking at this thinking 7-2 is a gift.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, if he could jump, he'd be rated 107. He'd be nearly a Gold Cup horse, wouldn't he? But he belts so many fences. He gets away with it, and and he's tough as old boots. He stays forever. He's run well in this race before. He's unpenalised for winning it, so he's off the same mark. So he's easily the best handicapped horse in the race. It's only 7 days ago. I don't care how easy you win a 4-mile race. It's got to take something out of you. But a double was done by Hotweld in 2007 with only a week break, and he was Ferdy Murphy, and he was actually £11 higher because he was out of the handicap at Sandown. So Kitty's Light goes in off the same mark. He's got a cracking chance. You can't, I certainly, whatever you fancy, I wouldn't put anyone off having a saver because he's, you can't imagine him not being there or thereabouts. But I backed a couple of others. I backed one at a big price early in the week who's come down a fair bit. Certainly Red, and real good winning form for Lydia Richards. Is actually thrashed Gemirand over 2.5 mile here.
And that's what we want to see on the final day, isn't
3
it? A yard
starts
like
ago.
this winning a big
That
race.
would be great, wouldn't it? Yeah, but thrashed Gemirand, who went on to run a very close second in the Greatwood, but he's also won over 3 mile, 1 furlong twice at Wincanton. Wasn't stopping the last time, under 12 stone as well. Reappeared after a couple of months off, ran over hurdles. I've only finished midfield that day, but it was actually easily his best ever run over hurdles because he was running off a mark much higher than he used to be over them. So, he's obviously been prepared for it. Caelan Quinn is riding to take £5 off. He's won a couple of decent races this season for Gary Moore. I think he's got a chance. I also came round to Marauder. I was a horse that I was looking to follow from the end of last season. He'd won 4 in a row already, but he just looked like he was a sort of staying chase that was going to win a decent prize. And of course, he ran terrible on his first 2 starts. But they did say he had problems. He came back and won the Grimthorpe from under supervision, who'd won the race the year before off the same mark and was well backed again. And he's just a tough staying chaser who gets the trip really well. He's got a nice low weight. If he gets into a nice rhythm, I think he'll be thereabouts as well.
Okay. There you go. Quite a few thoughts for this race. I thought, bigger price. If the ground does dry up, Musical Slave could run a big race as well, as he did in this last season. But it hasn't disappointed in terms of its competitiveness, this renewal, Tom.
No, it's an excellent race. I mean, Kitty's Light is amazing horse. First of all, I call he or she. Always, for some unknown reason. I don't know why. Well, I do, because it's Kitty's Light. Can't jump. Manages to win an Ida and a Scottish National, and he's 5 pounds lower mark than he was last year. He's an incredible horse, Kitty's Light. I'd love him to win because he's just an amazing, amazing horse. I've really got a soft spot for him. He should. I mean, he was the unluckiest loser you've ever seen in this race 2 years ago, wasn't he?
Worth also giving a shout out to.
Got given it. Do you remember?
I do. It was an absolute. It was a. I won't say it was a shocking decision, but it was certainly a shocking finish. But the other thing I was going to say was Jack Tudor is riding unbelievably at the moment as well. And
yeah, he's excellent, and he's excellent on this horse, isn't he? Because most people would be, I don't know how to describe it. They'd be worried.
They'd
about
fall off, wouldn't they?
Yeah, I was going to say, they'd be unseated.
Most people would fall off, is what you're trying to say.
Yeah. He's amazing, and I hope he wins because it's brilliant. He's the story of the race, isn't he? Me being me, I can't back him at 7-2 because he's he just ran last week, didn't he? And he's always liable to belt a fence. And at Sandown, you can get behind, you can get out of it, but that's never stopped him before. He's twice run really well in this race. He was third last year as well, so he's got to go well. Revels Hill, I just thought he was a bad price. I get the argument. He's unexposed. He stays the trip. He looked good last year. Beat the Two Amigos and the Welsh national winner last year. But he's had 4 runs this season. Now they might have been getting ready for this, but they've all been off this mark or lower marks. He got beaten in them all. So I thought he was plenty short enough. The Goffer ran so badly in the Irish National. I mean, you go back to we've been saying it all year, haven't we? The last month or so, the ultimate form is like the best form ever, isn't it? I mean, how good is that Monbeg Genius going to be? He's got to be a Welsh national certainty, isn't he? On the back of what Correct Rambler and Fast or Slow have done. So he was fourth in that. If he's back to that form, he's definitely a big player. But he ran
I didn't think he. I'm worried about him. Is he not a little bit better over shorter? I do think that he just he runs out of gas at the wrong point.
Possible, but I think Class can. He's a classy horse, isn't he? I think Class can sometimes take that out of the cat. I mean, in Rillo, I don't get because he's shown nothing. But Paul Nicholls tells everyone that he's back to his best, and he's been pointing and going around Larkhill and places like that. So he's got a chance. And Sam is one of my favourites. Just think he might be too high in the weights. So I ended up in the same one of Keel's, actually. Giorgio Moroder and Phil Oakey. Who remembers that? Electric Dreams. Remember that, boys?
Absolute banger. Giorgio Moroder's, yeah. He's
well, anyway,
a
I ended up
composer.
on him for exactly the same reasons as Keel said. I just think he's an improved. Last year, he was a horse to follow. He won an extra a couple of times, really easy. They were pretty decent races as well. There were some good horses behind him. And I think beating under supervision at Doncaster is not that easy because I think he's a pretty good horse round there off that sort of mark. So, I was staggered. I backed under supervision that day and coming around the turn, I thought he was going to win by 20. I couldn't believe he got beat, especially by Moroder because he'd shown nothing all season. But I just think he stays, doesn't mind the ground, likes going right-handed as his extra form showed. Don't know how good he is. Could easily be up to this. I get the musical slave argument. He finished in front of Kitty's like last year. He's a bit worse off at the weights. And the other one I thought might go well was Paul Nicholls' other one, Broken Halo. I just don't know if he's going to stay. But if you watched, it was a pretty good time, funnily enough, the Grand Military Gold Cup. Wasn't a bad time. Normally those races are, they all fall apart and whatever. But he hit the line pretty hard that day. I don't think it was as bad a race as we normally see those military Gold Cups. I wouldn't be surprised if he ran well at a big price. So I backed Moroder. I will probably have a few quid on Broken Halos too as well.
Okay, there you go then, Moroder. So Keels and Tom are together in Electric Dreams with that one. But just a quick shout out, by the way, for producer Will, who does the thumbnails for In the Know. And Sam's just messaged you say the last 5 horses who've been in the thumbnail have all won. Kitty's Light in the Scottish National, Correct Ramble in the Grand National, Pick Dorhey, Constitution Hill, Gallop in Deschamps. And he's put Frodon in today's thumbnail, so Frodon at 14-1. If that's the kind of angle you want to follow, then please be my guest. Will out there chuckling to himself. Has he backed any of them? That's the question. David Stevens, what do you make of this red-hot, wide-open handicap?
Well, firstly, you're a week late with the wheel thumbnail system. We could have all done with that last week, but we'll let that one go. Yeah. Really good racing prospect. 5 places each way on this. Would love to see Kitty's Light follow up. Really enthusiastic bunch of owners. Christian Williams, a very underrated trainer, I think, does so well with these long distance staying types. And could well do the double. Wouldn't be a surprise at all. It does run well in this race, has done before. The Goffer had to have a second look just because that Ultima form. But I agree with you. I think this sort of trip is just, it's just too much for him. And I agree about Monbeg Genius. Wherever he goes in the autumn, he's absolutely going to be one to watch. But I came down on the side of Cool Valor, beat Revels Hill last time out, and is a far bigger price in this one for not much of a weight pool with Harry Fry's runner. So I think if you fancy Revels Hill, you've got to give Cool Valor a chance. And I would do around the 14-1 mark with those 5 places each way.
Okay, lovely stuff. Thank you, David. I'll take a chance with Musical Slave each way in this. And just remind us, guys, 2 nights in white satin, agreeing? Is that right?
All right. Yep, Moroder, and I've had a few could certainly bet as well.
Okay, there you go. And Tom?
Yeah, Moroder for me.
Lovely stuff. Okay, and shout out to Genghis who says he can see the panel in some synth prog rock foursome. I'll do it. I'll absolutely do it as long as I can play the guitar. I mean,
I think I could manage the triangle maybe, but I mean I don't think I'm any better than that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
As long as I've just got to do that every now and again.
Yeah.
Because I am musically horrific.
No, that's fine. You're in. As for the rest, we've got a few other selections. Gary Stewart, I'll come back to you in a second. Broken Halo for Genghis, and Paul says, Philip, has Bryony gone at the game? Absolutely not. She's been riding winners left, right, and centre this
well,
week.
she had a double yesterday, and the ride on Regarding Roof was superb.
Yeah, and she rode him to sleep on the other
Yeah, she hasn't got again. She just doesn't get any rides.
No, fair enough. But OK, let's move on then to the next race at Sandown, where last year's winner of that race goes in this race. Hewick is 11-8 for the Oaksey Chase. Solo is 130. Eldorado Allen is 6-1. McFabulous 8-1. First Flow 10-1. Fantastic Lady 10-1. Black Jerry is 20-1. 7 of them lining up here for this Grade 2 contest, which on the face of it looks like a small field, but we normally get about 3 or 4 in this, don't we? So nice to see it actually look a little bit competitive. But I'm going to come to you first, though, David Stevens, because you are contractually obliged, not as much as Simon perhaps, to wax lyrical about Eldorado LM.
Yes, obviously spoke to Joe this morning for his Coral blog. It's been a race they've had in mind for a while. Obviously, he did go to Aintree, ran in a handicap after running in a lot of good graded races all season. They're very happy with him. He's in good form. Joe is just a few quid off £1 million in prize money for the year. So I know he's keen to get to that milestone. Wouldn't put you off Eldorado Allen, as I say, has been knocking heads with some good ones this season. But I much prefer, well, not much prefer, but I just prefer the chances of Solo, who won the Pendle, becoming about Paul Nicholls' 75th winner of that race at Kempton. Jumped really well that day, goes well fresh. And I will take him on just because what you said at the top of the show, I'm not sure Sandown is quite as good, quite as quick as we might be led to believe by the going description. And Hewick, he's coming over for good ground, but it may not be quite quick enough for him.
Okay, Hewick then 11-8, but a fairly remarkable horse, Tom. I mean, what a profile this has got. Hewitt's got. I mean, he's got a profile that looks more like an Aidan O'Brien globe-trotting Highland Reel type, just popping up here to try that, popping up there to try this. He's 11-8 to go in again, and he was running a good race at Cheltenham. Although, admittedly, that race has clearly left its mark on a few.
Yeah. I mean, it always does, doesn't it? It's a brutal race in terms of physicality, isn't it? It's probably the most brutal race of the year in terms of that. So, yeah, he fell too far. What was it? So 3 out, was it?
2 out. I think it was 2 out, wasn't it?
2 out.
Might have
been 3 out. I don't know, but wherever it was, it's still a long way to go. I think he'll win tomorrow. I think he's better than these. I'm not that worried about the ground. The question is how does you look. I can't believe you'd bring him over if there was any doubt about whether he's over the fall or not. But I don't fancy Eldorado Allen. First Flows, he's had a better days, isn't he? I thought Black Jerry might run well at a price. He's a horse I really like and he jumps really well. But I think Paul Nicholls is obviously very, very dangerous in races like this because he trains horses for this meeting, doesn't he? I mean, I thought it was interesting that St. Calvados, who won it last year, and Frodon, who won it the year before, are not running. And he's got Solo and Fabulous. I think they'll both run well. I just think Hewitt might be a class above, but I wouldn't put anyone off either of the Nicholls pair. But I mean, I'm a Hewitt fan deep down, and I want him to win, a bit like Kitty's Line.
Okay, then Hewick is an 11-8 market leader here, Keels. But yeah, he's similar to Kitty's Line. Obviously, very popular, very talented, but you're not going to get rich back in him.
He is a class apart on his best form. There's no doubt about that. But he did get to 2 out in a fairly brutal Gold Cup, and he took a very, very heavy fall, and the ground might not be quite as quick as he likes. And Shark Hanlon on the flat and over jumps since September in Britain and Ireland is 1 from 174.
Right, that's
so you fancy Hewitt then, Keels?
Yeah, I think it's certainly. Yeah, lump on. No. I mean, I just think you need your head tested if you want to. You've got a stat like that. I mean, he's just not having any winners.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to oppose him.
I mean, to be fair, I'm just looking back. Yeah, he had a few Coming into this race last year, he'd only had 2 in Ireland
Yeah, I mean,
since September.
he doesn't train that many winners, does he? So, I mean, it's one of those. But I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, I can't be getting involved with that. I actually don't think Solo will stay 2 miles, 6.5 furlongs, especially if there's a bit of cut in the ground.
Yeah.
So you've got to go a bit further down, see the case for Eldorado. Alan, I think McFabulous coming back fresh. He had an irregular heartbeat last year. I wouldn't worry too much about the jockey bookings because Lorcan Williams rode him last year when he won the Select Hurdle and Harry Cobden was on the favourite. So he does ride him a fair bit. I think at 10-1, he's got a very good shout. I think he's very best at just under 3 mile. I don't think he quite stays at 2 miles, 6.5. Perfect in a small field. I think he's going to run well.
Okay, McFabulous then is an 8-1 shot for the Oaksey Chase. A quick shout out to anyone on the chat. Okay, sorry, he doesn't fancy Solo, and that's about the only opinion we've got here in this Oaksey Chase on the chat box. So feel free to throw more opinions in if you have them. Moving on then to another competitive handicap chase, this time 2.5 miles for the novices, and Cap de Mathan carrying top weight is 4-1. Hudson de Grugy is 9-2 with Harper's Brook. Kel Destan is 6-1. Quinto de Mar is 15-2. Mumbo Jumbo at 10-1. Fable is 10s and it is 11-1 and bigger the rest. And quite a few horses in here that I had to double check Keels again. I thought that's a novice. A few of these horses have been around.
That's a novice. That's a front runner. That's a front runner. That's a front runner. That's a front runner. Lots of them in here.
Yeah. Do you think it's going to be
lots of pace?
Right old
lots
clip?
of pace. Now, I've been hovering over Harbour's Brook for the last couple of days, and he was like 12-1, and I really want to back him, but Ben Pauling's horse is just not running very well.
No.
Like,
I looked at this card tomorrow and I thought he could have 3 or 4 winners, and then I thought...
Exactly, yeah. I kept looking at it, and it's one of those, if he has a winner early, then I'll be going, but the price has gone now. I mean, he had a bumper horse well back yesterday. It just never went a yard. So that would worry me. But, I mean, Harper's Brook, obviously, he went well clear in the ultimate, didn't he? And he led it, he had some seriously good horses on the stretch, and he just quite obviously didn't stay. So I think he's got to be a massive player back at 2.5 mile, but I can't back him because of the form of the yard. So I ended up looking at this and I thought, well, all these horses go from the front, and then the rank outs, one of the rank outsiders, Mumbo Jumbo. Now he's actually quite well treated on his third to Solo here earlier in the season. He probably wants the ground a little bit softer than it's going to be, but he might get away with it. And if they all go really fast, he will stay further. And I just think off the same mark as when third to Solo, who's somewhere 12, 13 pound higher now, I think he's got a fair shout. He's actually still just about weighted to finish in front of Hudson de Grugy, who was well behind him that day. I think he's got a chance.
Okay. Mumbo Jumbo then, Keels' words, not mine, for this novices handicap chase. Emma Lavelle, of course, having a couple of winners this week. One very well backed in the Hardy Fella the other day. Made all, and they never got anywhere near him. So the yard are going all right. But again, loads of very experienced novices here, Tom. And this could be another cracking matchup.
Yeah, it's Keels sort of stole my thunder a bit there. Yeah, Harper's Brook was a big eye catcher at Cheltenham. Just he was still in front 3 out, but he was pulled up in about a furlong. So that was my worry about him, is that he must have he was exhausted. I mean, he went from first to tailed off very, very quickly. So that would be my worry. But he obviously went through the race really well, and what he did do was jump brilliantly. He was putting lengths into good handicappers, so he's a really good jumper. If he's overcome that, and as Keels pointed out, the Ben Pauling horses I think he'd have a really big chance. But I am worried about how hard a race he had. Mumbo Jumbo is interesting, just doesn't win, does he? He's just a bit of a weak finisher, but he is handicapped, as Keels pointed out, to go well, and he is a big price, so certainly wouldn't put him off him. I didn't think Cap de Mathan was that well handicapped. I liked Hudson de Grugy, really. I just thought he was good here the other day. He would have won he would have won a lot easier if he hadn't bungled the last. He's not a brilliant jumper, and that is my worry. If the ground isn't slow enough, and all these front runners take him out of his rhythm, then he might start making mistakes. But I think he's pretty decent. They landed a bit of a touch with him last time. I think he's got a little bit left under the bonnet. I think, as Keels pointed out, he was 4th in the race that Mumbo Jumbo was 3rd into Solo. And on that form, they're very tightly matched. So I just thought he was a winner. I just think he's the type of horse that puts his head down and battles. I can't be sure of that with Mumbo Jumbo. But as you know, as Keels rightly pointed out, once again, you're getting double the price. So, that's the way you look at it. That's fine by me.
Okay, Mumbo Jumbo is a 10-1 shot then. And I was quite a little bit interested in Fable. It just looks like a horse who just clearly runs well after a break. And that run last time out came 2 weeks after that Bangor run and has course form as well. Looks like a horse who... That profile looks a bit in and out, but to me, I think best kept fresh would be the angle for Fable. So 10-1 looked interesting for me. David Stevens, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I mean, Harper's Brook has to be on the list, given he ran in that Ultima back-in trip, didn't stay at Cheltenham. And Hudson de Grugy, again, beating Cal Destin last time. Gary Moore always does so well here. I thought both were obvious. Didn't particularly fancy the favourite, albeit he's only just favourite, Captain Mathan. So, yeah, the next two in the betting, I'll probably end up exacting the pair of them.
Okay, there you go. Novices Handicap Chase at Sandown for the 325. Moving on to the 4 o'clock at Sandown, the penultimate race on Saturday's card, the Select Hurdle. And it is certainly a select field of quirky types, I think. And it's like this. I mean, you thought the Stayers Hurdle was an interesting mix. So we got Time Hill here at 5-2, Goshen at 11-4 with Nappers Hill, Theatre Glory at 3-1, and Call Me Lord at 11-1. Texard does not go. Time Hill has had a fairly up and down season over fences. Goshen has had a fairly up and down life. Nappers Hill is clearly a very good horse, and he likes it round here. Theatre Glory maybe a little bit disappointing last time out, but of course that was in much better company. And Call Me Lord is an absolute Sandown specialist. So quite frankly, you couldn't rule any of this 5 out, Keels.
Well, you couldn't, but I mean, earlier on in the day, Goshen was 9-2, and I thought that was a wind-up. I mean, he's so good right-handed, isn't he? He's just a different horse altogether. His last 2 runs, last of 5 at Fontwell, wrong way round, jumped wildly right. Then last of 3 at Lingfield over fences, which he'd already showed he hated at Ascot earlier on. He's run twice right-handed tracks at over hurdles this season. He thrashed Bruin up a storm, giving him £6 at Ascot in a Grade 2, and then finished second at Paisley Park in a long walk. Probably doesn't quite get 3 mile, but he certainly gets as far as here. He's run 3 times in his life at Sandown and won them all. One of them was on the flat, and the aggregate winning margin is 58 lengths. He should be fav. It's Goshen day again for me tomorrow, and he'll raise the roof, he'll win.
That's the first time anyone's ever made a case for Goshen. I thought, yeah, I agree, 100%, absolutely, yeah. You've genuinely convinced me, because this is the kind of race where, well, I mean, these kind of Grade 2 events over those middle trips, they're
perfect for him.
They drive me mad when I look at them. So I'm glad you.
I mean, hammered down yesterday. That's washed away any concerns about the ground whatsoever. It's all perfect for him. Should be fab. Should be 2-1. Best price.
There you go. He's 11-4 at the moment. I'm convinced, Tom. I'm fully bought in. And normally I like to argue with Keels, but I think I've become a convert.
Well, he's right, isn't he? His form right-handed is he's one of the best horses around right-handed, as we see. He's not clearly the horse that we thought he was going to be in when he fell in the Triumph, but he's still a very, very talented horse when he gets his conditions, and he's got them tomorrow. I've been going on about Gary Moore around here since about 20 years, but he's got a brilliant record in these sort of races. So yeah, I think he should be fab. Time Hill was really disappointing. I don't care about the fences or whatever. He just didn't look to have any interest at Cheltenham. Now, maybe it's the fences, and he'll revert back to form over hurdles. And Goshen does have a penalty, doesn't he? I think he has to give Time Hill £6, does he? And if Time Hill is at his very best, or the Stayers Hurdle second, it won't be easy giving him £6. I still think Goshen can do it. I don't see Nappers Hill being good enough. Theatre Glory, I think it would have been better if the rain stayed away. And your old friend, Call Me Lord, Ross, could easily run well again, but I don't think he's in the same class as the top 2. So for me, I'm with Keels. I think Goshen will win, and Time Hill it's boring, but I think they're light years ahead of the rest, really.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, the big plus of Time Hill is the trip, isn't it? I mean, he's been running all these 3 mile events, but his runs over hurdles. He's like Goshen. He's won 3 races over around 2.5 miles, battering everything in sight in Grade 1 and Grade 2 company. And since then, they've been trying to make him into a stayer. So, interesting. An interesting, small but select field for the select hurdle, David. And who convinced you the most, Tom or Keels?
I was absolutely mesmerised by Keels making the case for Gosh, and I'm like you. This is the most quirky horse in training, and yet he's an absolute certainty now. The only slight concern is the £6. I think it's 6. He's got to give Time Hill, but his record round Sandown, as has been pointed out, is superb. This is his track. Goshen all the way. I mean, just a phrase I never thought I'd say. Absolute certainty.
No, well, I mean, let's not get too carried away, but
Responsible gambling, David.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Fill your boots.
He's 11-4 for the select hurdle there tomorrow. I think all four of us are going to agree on Goshen.
Yeah.
I need a minute, guys.
Yeah.
I need a minute here. I'll tell you what. I mean, if Greta team wins now as well, I don't know what I'll think. Anyway, it's the select hurdle at 4 o'clock at Sandown. We're all in agreement. It is Gary Moore all the way. 3 more races to go. 1 from Sandown, 2 from Punchestown, and the final race at Sandown is a handicap hurdle over 2.5 miles. Ikeo is 15-8. Samarive is 9-2. El Muchacho is 15-2. Creverly is 8 with Brierley and Press Your Luck and 17-2. And bigger the rest. Poor Nichols at the top of the betting here for this handicap hurdle. Tom, as it has been in the last couple of seasons. Is it that simple? What's the angle?
Yeah, I think it probably is, boringly enough. I just didn't think that the others came with that convincing profiles. I'm a fan of Creverly, but I was a little bit disappointed with him in the EBF final. I know it was probably a good race, but I thought he was going to run better than he did. El Muchacho's very consistent, but he keeps getting beaten in sort of much smaller races than this. I personally prefer Samarive. I just thought I just like it. I just like him a lot. I thought the trip's fine, ground's fine, good claimer taking 7 off, a handicap to go really well. So obviously, ICO was impressive here the other day, but I just thought Samarive might just be the one today.
Okay, Samarive then. Maybe fancy Freddie Gingel's other ride on the car. Maybe an each-way double might be an angle. Keels?
Yeah, similar to Tom really. It depends on how much the ground has dried out. If it stays soft, I'd still think Seo's the one to beat, Ikeo, whatever you want to call him. Samarive has been very impressive in 2 starts of Sandown on ground that's been quicker than soft. So I think he's a massive player, and if any of the Ben Pauling horses run well, Fine Caster's actually got a better chance than 10-1 odds again. But again, you've got to look at how they've been running at the moment. So I'm going to wait and see what the ground is. If it suggests it's a fair bit better than soft, then I'd take a chance on Samarive.
Okay, Samarive then is a 9-2 shot here. So again, agreements from our 2 pundits, which is a rarity, David.
Yeah, well, let's not all agree. So I'll go for ICO. I thought a £6 rise for the Imperial Cup win was perfectly fair. The rain in midweek obviously is going to help. And I mentioned for Brierley, who has won here previously. He's run well at Sandown as well in defeat. He's a consistent sort, an each-way price, Brierley. But yeah, I'll stick boringly with the favourite.
Yes, to be fair, that second to Grey Dawning and the second of course and distance where he looked like he was going to get swallowed up and plugged on. He's got good course form, so I'd say he'd have to go in the play spot, but this is the 7th race on the card, so you'd be wasting your time. The final race at Sandown then, Keels?
Yeah, just Samarive for me, but keep an eye on the ground.
Okay. Tom?
Yeah, I'm a big Samarive fan. I backed him at Ascot last time. He ran a really good race behind Irish Hill. I think he can go well. I think he'll have been trained for this day.
Okay. And David?
ICO for me.
ICO it is. Let's rattle over to Punchestown then, shall we, for 2 Grade 1s. And to be fair, only one of them has an odds-on Willie Mullins animal, so we've got a few to potentially have an angle at. Love Envoy is 7-4 for the Mayor's Champion Hurdle. 7-2 Echoes in Rain. Queen's Brook is 9-2. Brandy Love 11-2. Epatante 13-2. She Wears It Well at 18s. Anna Bonina at 33s. Keels, most of them from Cheltenham turning up for another crack. But as we've seen this week, Cheltenham to Punchestown doesn't always work out. There's some proper course horses in here. Does that mean that Love Envoy is a little bit vulnerable?
Yeah, I think she might be a little bit vulnerable. She was fantastic at Cheltenham, serving it up to Honeysuckle. It was really good ride and a really good run. It depends on how much the ground dries out. I think that's an issue. I think she definitely was very soft ground, and she did get absolutely thumped by Brandy Love last year. Is that correct? Yeah, so it worried me. I wouldn't be rushing in. I actually quite like Echoes in Rain. I've always been a bit of a fan of her, but she's run at this meeting very well twice before. She won a Novice Hurdle Grade 1 a few years ago, and she was second, beaten only 3 lengths by Honeysuckle when Honeysuckle was the proper Honeysuckle. You know what I mean? So I think Echoes in Rain will run well.
Okay, Echoes in Rain is a 7-2 shot. I was going to stick with Queen's Brook. I had a bet on at Cheltenham. I thought she ran an absolute cracker. She loves this track as well. But punches down all week, Tom. Gordon Elliott won the first race and hasn't won one since.
No, I noticed that too. Yeah, it's been a bit disappointing for him, hasn't he? To be honest, I think unfortunately with the demise of Mighty Potter, not sure where his real great horses are coming from next year. He's going to struggle a bit, I think. But especially with Willie Mullins winning every race. He didn't win the Hunter Chase, by the way, a minute ago. Emmett Mullins won it instead, for all the Mullins followers. I thought Love Envoy was brilliant at Cheltenham. I got it wrong, clearly, because Honeysuckle came back and bounced back. But I'd back Love Envoy, and I was really, really confident of her winning, jumping 2 out, because I thought she'd stay on better than the Honeysuckle. And Honeysuckle was back to her, I think, somewhere near her best, actually. Because I thought Love Envoy got a perfect ride from the front, jumped brilliantly, didn't miss a hurdle, and she still got past her. So that was one of Honeysuckle's really best efforts, funnily enough. But I still love Envoy. As Kealy says, it's a ground thing with her, because I think soft ground is the key to her. Echoes in Rain is incredibly classy. Her flat form puts her, she improved massively on the flat last year. So, Brandy Love's been disappointing. I think Epitome, it might be the last time, if Epitome doesn't run up to scratch, I think that might be the last time she probably runs. She's been a great mare too. I'm very fond of her, but I think it's between the top 2. It's very boring. I don't think Queen's Brook will trouble them, and I'm hoping Love Envoy wins, really.
Okay, Love Envoy is a 7-4 shot. If you are watching the stream at home, like it. Press that big thumb button. David Stevens, thumbs up to you for the penultimate race of the day.
Yeah, really, just echoing what Thomas said. Love Envoy's form with Honeysuckle at Cheltenham sets a standard here. But Willie Mullins, at a week that he is, bar a couple of races, has absolutely dominated. It would be no surprise to see Echoes in Rain get closer to her, nor indeed beat her. I think it's between the front 2, and I hope Love Envoy can give the Brits a rare win over at Punchestown this week.
Okay, there you go. All right, the 5 o'clock at Punchestown tomorrow is another Grade 1. We'll end the show on this for the juvenile, the champion 4-year-old hurdle, Lossy Mouth 4-5, Zarek the Brave 7-2, Gala Marceau 7-2, Enjoy the Dream 12-1, Nusret 16s and 66-1, and bigger the rest. Keel's Lossy Mouth has won the last 3 races, beating Gala Marceau. Won 2 of the last 3, beating Gala Marceau. Has been beaten by Gala Marceau. Be people sitting at home having that reverse forecast and putting the kettle on, I imagine.
Yeah, it could be, and it could easily happen like that. Is what's been happening all week with the Willie Mullins horses, isn't it? But it might not. They both had hard races, haven't they? And I actually don't think the juveniles are any good this year. I don't think we've seen anything special in the juvenile division at all. And we were talking off air earlier on. Enjoy the Dream beat Blood Destiny.
Yeah,
that's it. Very, very comfortably the other day. Came from nowhere, but if you look at her flat form, she's been placed in a 4th in a Group 3 in Germany, 2nd in a listed race. Her form's not far away. She's 14-1. Take a chance.
Okay. Enjoy the Dream is 12-1. Tom.
I don't know how good they are, but I think Lossy Mouth did lots wrong when she won at the Triumph. I thought she was far too keen. I'm pretty sure Paul Talon didn't want to go on anywhere near as early as he did, and she still ran away from them up the hill. I'm with Keels that I don't think the form's very good, but I think she could be very good, because I think she's a lot better than she showed in the Triumph. Whether I want to back her at 4-5 back after a hard season, I don't know, but I think she's got a lot of talent. Interesting that Dal Jacobs riding Zarek the Brave and not Nusret, because Nusret I would think would have better form. So it's interesting that Zarek the Brave's up there. I'd love Enjoy the Dream to win for the McNamaras. I think it's quite an interesting one. But I mean, it sounds really boring. But I've gone outsiders in a few races earlier on. I think Lossy Mouth I think she could be something pretty good myself. I know the form isn't there, but I was really impressed with the way she did it at Cheltenham, because she did lots wrong. If she pulls like she did there, then there will be a problem. But I think I like her. I like her a lot.
Okay, there you go. David Stevens, see us out with the final price boost of the evening.
Yeah, I suppose it's entirely fitting that Willie Mullins has the first 3 in the betting for this Grade 1 contest. In the season, he's dominated, certainly all the big meetings he's shown up for. I think Lossiemouth will probably just win. But again, I thought, like Tom, I thought Daryl Jacob choosing Zarek the Brave was interesting. But we finished with these 2 mares, Grade 1s. Both Love Envoy and Lossiemouth to win by over 3.5 lengths is 7-1 from 6-1. And that is the final price boost of the jump season. Roll on the flat.
There you go. Well said, David Stevens. And we'll get the final naps of the jump season in a second after this. There we go. Final naps of the jump season then. Starting off with the man sat at home. It's Mr. Tom Segal.
Yeah, I'll go for Kansas de Burley in the first race, Ross. I just thought he was the type of horse that Gary Moore might have well handicapped.
Okay, Kansas de Burley. It is for Tom. Paul Kealy, nap, please.
Yeah, I'm just trying to check the time. It is 4 o'clock. Goshen, 4 out of 4.
Okay, there you go.
At Sandown.
Goshen it is. Probably could have guessed that one, to be fair. David Stevens, the nap for you.
Well, there's a huge temptation to tip the John Bond by 5 lengths or more, but I will instead go for Solo in the 250 at Sandown.
Okay, lovely stuff. And I'll end the jump season with a selection in the 345 at Haydock. Montasib, back on better ground, out of the Lincoln, that's thrown up plenty of winners. There you go. Roll on the flat indeed. It's the Giddies next week, and we'll be back for that. Good night.